You probably should.
I will. Do you guys want to stay there or you come here?
Whatever you guys normally do it.
Yeah. Come on over.
Yeah.
You can be on stage and
Yeah,
sing and dance.
do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, it's too early for that.
Good morning.
How are you? Good to see you. Where do you want us back there?
Right over here.
All right.
Right in front.
You can put it in showing time. Yeah. Somebody lives here, so I just have to make sure it's okay with them, but I'm in a meeting and my partner who's working on that will, yeah, you can call Margaret directly.
So we have, you guys can talk.
And then get the, and then
Pass it over.
Got it. 10 minutes?
15, 20,
Okay, all right, cool.
yeah.
Or you can talk, I just gotta watch it.
Being home really helps.
That's
She's home and I'm taking your doctor. She's going today to get some spray. So.
Yeah, and I have another doctor as well. Yeah.
I went to Dr. Baker, actually. Retired from the business.
Oh, you want me to sit next to you over there? Feet off each other? It's the third seat of 7.
Lorelai, how was the rest of the Taste of Fairfield?
I don't know, I left right after.
Right after.
It was over.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was done.
Good morning, thank you for having us. Yeah. Coffee, welcome to the pantry, and some bananas.
It's probably on my front seat. It's a coffee mug, but I'll take this too. Do you mind? It's a mug with a blue J on it. I got it for my birthday and I saw the coffee on my Facebook.
We're up at the inn in Maine this weekend.
It was good. It was good. It was a lot of work.
Yeah. Are you fixing the place up or?
We have done a lot already, but we're always doing more.
Daughter is like the executive chef there, right?
She's actually, she runs it. We just hired her. She's the chef. But we haven't.
Oh, wow. Right.
Which is
Is it getting so busy?
because she can't run in, run the farm, do the marketing. No, so it's fine. You guys have
How far into Maine is it?
about an hour from Portland. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
about 30 minutes from City River.
Yeah,
And so it's really-
perfect, yeah. My in-laws bought a place in Maine and they're like, oh, you have to come up, it's 5 hours. So we like, almost 10. And I'm like, you just told me that.
Yeah.
5 hours. And I didn't even map it.
Ours is like truly
This is
quarter.
like 3 hours above deck. Like, this is like going towards Canada. I've only been there once and every summer they're like, are you coming again? I was like, yeah. Okay, oh, so you got a little ties to Maine. Yeah, they fell in love with Maine so much that they bought a house and then the Airbnb that one built one next to it and then they bought like more. They're up there more than they're down here. Yeah.
Did you know that unfortunately, well, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, something more or less.
Yeah, but then Hartford and Norwalk are like top 10 in like the country for like.
Hartford County has good.
Norwalk is like nice.
Now, why we can't find one in Norwalk?
We tell like the agents here, like Norwalk agents, that we need to do one Norwalk.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we get tons of talk from people wanting to go to Norwalk, right? Yeah. Why? Just the proximity to the city, right? It's not Stanford, it's a little bit more hustle and bustle, but like, it's still somewhat affordable. The people who live in Norwalk love Norwalk, like love us. I live in Fairfield. I've lived in Norwalk when I was younger, like South Norwalk. Yeah. have a coworker who lives in Norwalk, who lives over by the Mary. Some names, Chestnut, but like beautiful school. And,
Yeah,
he's
the
never
schools
been.
are also, I think they're putting money into schools.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
Because
his
they're getting
school's
more property
brand new.
taxes, right? They're gonna funnel some of that into the schools.
Yeah.
Julie's from Norwalk, so she turned out okay.
There you go.
My typical line, when I was fighting, I went to high school there.
Yeah.
I got a typical line, but yeah, and it's a good, I mean, the school is. Personally, I love the school. We might just go there, but just because of the diversity to lifestyle. All the money, all the competition. Yeah, I think it has.
Yeah.
I think drugs are just as common.
It's not warm, it just keeps having. I know, I gotta wait.
So,
And now they're starting to prescribe weed
Yeah.
legally to these kids because they're so, and it's like the pressure is.
Should we rock and roll?
Yes.
Okay. We're gonna do ours and then they're gonna do theirs. Should we have about 10, 15 minutes to do it? So.
Take 20, take your time.
Okay,
Yeah.
and
You
so,
guys are the spotlight.
so we'll introduce ourselves in a minute, but please have this be like interactive, like stop, ask questions, right? That's the best way to do it. So for the people who are here, there's food and coffee up there. So help yourself to that. My name is Justin Egan. I'm the Vice President of Sales for Fairway Mortgage in Connecticut. My teammate, Cody Shea. Yeah, Cody is our senior mortgage banker. Cody and I are on the same team, so we feed off each other. So if a loan comes in, we both could work on it together. One of us takes the lead, one of us, takes the back seat. But Cody and I are a team, and we try to tackle this together. So call either one of us. There's no competition amongst us at all. We're all in the same spot. Our goal is just to help you guys out and be a great partners. We're going to talk about what
Cash guarantee. We mentioned it a few times.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a flyer, 2 flyers.
Mariana, we can hardly hear.
Oh, is it that thing over there?
Yep.
I moved it. Guys, is that better? Can you hear us better now?
Thanks for letting us know.
Yes?
Yep.
Yes.
We'll speak up a little bit too. So just stop if you can't hear, please.
Yes,
We appreciate you taking the time out to listen to us. So we want to make sure you hear.
Yeah.
what we're saying. So
better.
all right, we're talking about our cash guarantee tool, and what a cash guarantee tool is it's a proprietary tool. I don't call it a product because it's not a product. It's a tool that we use to ensure that your buyer's offer goes in non-contingent while protecting your borrower's money deposit and protecting that the transaction will close. We are the only one in Connecticut doing it without any fees or any money held in escrow or a higher rate. There's absolutely no catch. There's no cost to the client. There's no cost to you. This is just something we do up front to gain more market share, gain more business, and close transactions faster. So this is all about shortening your sales cycle. This is about getting the client the house they want. The client goes and picks out their kids' bedrooms and where their couch is going to go. And in the back of your head, you're like, they have no chance, right? They have a pre-approval from Quicken Loans and they're putting down 3%. Like, that you're just out there with. So this is like, we don't want to waste time. This is the buyers, get the buyers in the house that they want. So we'll go into a little bit of like what it is and how we do it, but it's a self-insured program. So Fairway is one of the top 5 non-bank lenders in the nation. So our size lets us self-insure it. And what that means is we underwrite the file up front. We clear all the borrower's conditions. This is all 1 week or less, right, Cody?
Yeah, I mean, if the borrower's quick, 3 days.
3 to 4 days. Cody's a pro at these. He turns them faster than anyone in our office. So what we do is we underwrite the borrower up front. We go through bank statements. We go through verifications of employment. Anything that borrower related is cleared. We don't need anything from the borrower anymore. The only thing we need is the property. So at that point, there's an addendum floating around. We issue, and you guys can take a look at this if you want, we issue this instead of a pre-approval. And the first line of the paragraph, Julie could read right here, it says waiver of financing contingency.
Waiver of financing contingency, should I
Yep.
read it?
Yeah.
Buyer and Fairway hereby agree to waive any requirement contained in the contract that buyer be approved for the financing necessary for buyer to purchase the property, subject to any limitations set forth in this addendum. The financing contingency.
Yeah, and then it goes on and on, but that's the basic gist of it, signed by our corporate counsel. So what we're saying is if the borrower for some reason can't perform on the mortgage, they lose their job, they go and buy a new car, they furnish their house prior to selling it and their credit's messed up. That, collection account from Verizon pops up and tanks their credit, right? We've all had that happen once in our life. And they can't do the mortgage, they can't close on the mortgage, we will buy the house for cash on that. So Fairway will step up, buy the house for cash. So the seller is guaranteed a closing date. They're either selling it to your client or they're selling it to us. Now, you're like, you guys are trying to buy houses, what's going on? We're not trying to buy houses. We don't want to buy houses. We've actually bought less than 5 houses nationwide, and we've been doing this for 2 years. And if we do have to buy the house, we try to get it back to the original client. Like maybe it's a job gap. Maybe we can fix their credit. We don't want to own houses. But what we want to do is ensure that the closing is going to happen. And we want to ensure that with, our strength and our size. And that's how you're going to get your clients' offers accepted because there's no contingency.
Now, do you purchase it for that previous purchase price?
So yeah, we'll go into appraisal thing. That's a little bit, we'll go into the appraisal piece of it in a second, but yeah. And Cody, please jump in if you have.
So lower of the
Questions
two.
up there too.
Yeah.
It's the lower of the two.
We'll go into the appraisal thing in a
Same as
second.
like a regular-
Yeah, the appraisal thing is the only
We'll
piece
lend or buy on the
that we need
lower
to
of the
do.
two, yeah.
So what does it say? What is a Fairway cash guarantee? It is a guarantee to the seller that the sale of their property will close, even if the buyer is unable to qualify for financing on the day of closing. And this isn't some new product we came out with yesterday and we're working out the kinks. We've been doing this for 2 years. Cody, my pipeline is probably 25% cash
I mean, I
guarantee.
do it on everyone that I can. I mean,
Yeah.
I will say like some clients, so like I'll get them pre-approved the same day. I'm still gonna get W-2s, pay stubs, bank statements, taxes, whatever I need. If they're like, unless they are like, I need to sell this home to buy this home and I need the assets or my income cannot carry both mortgages, like I'm pitching, right? I will say that like some of the clients are like, they want to get out there, right? And sometimes it takes like, well, I'm pre-approved and like Lorelei and I go see 2 homes and make 2 offers and like I get shut down both times. Then I will say they come back and they're like, hey, what was that thing you mentioned?
Yeah.
I'll run it through, I'll get it done in like 3-4 days.
There's no risk to the buyer anyway. Like,
There's zero risk to the buyer.
I mean, it's
There's the
just
same.
they're just hesitant because they're nervous about it.
So what happens
I don't
is
think they need
they
it.
get their we're gonna pre-approve them in 24 hours because that's what they want. They want to know their payment, their rate, and their pre-approved. And then we always say, okay, you have this pre-approval. Now you're gonna get a set of disclosures. You have to sign them. We're gonna go farther. Most of the time they're like, no, I was just waiting for that piece of paper. I'm out. And
It's kind of
so-
like underwriting. Like,
Yeah.
They don't always
They
want
have
to
to
get
do-
it.
But the work's on us, not them. The work's on us, not them. It's just like, they're like, wait, what do you like? Because it's not normal, right? It's kind of out of the box is what we're
And
doing.
the pre-approval.
There's not
You have
insured.
to get more information from them to get this, like their W.
So they have to sign a small set of loan disclosures with like an intent to proceed. Like there's a
I'll get,
little
like, an
bit.
HR contact. I mean,
Yeah,
'cause I'm
absolutely.
generally I'm getting
But
95.
they've already given you their taxes and their W
Everything,
two.
So
yeah.
say a pre-approval has 75% of the stuff, you need to get an extra 25% of the
It's
stuff.
just like a basic
Um,
COA package.
But I mean, it's like 3 days. So we have some agents that use this and they go, don't give me back this client until they have a cash guarantee. I don't even want a pre-approval.
Yeah.
And then some agents that are like, oh yeah, you told my client about that. We lost out on 3 houses. Now they want to do it.
Right.
That's
Right.
the majority of the people that come back to us. Honestly, they need to feel that pain to then be like, oh, what were you talking
Yeah.
about? And we don't want to overkill people with like, you gotta do, you know what I mean? If we're just trying to get a mortgage
Can I ask you a
pre-approval.
question?
Yeah.
So I'll often have that conversation about, like, if you want to get your offer accepted, we should try to go in as a cash offer, make it look like a cash offer. In a way, this is better. This is less risk for them.
There's no risk for them. And we
So,
actually
I mean-
even give the attorneys verbiage to put in the contract to protect their EMD. So if Fairway cash guarantee is triggered, borrower's EMD will be refunded to them. So we protect their down payment. We protect everything.
So the buyers aren't penalized in any way.
No,
They don't lose
nothing.
any money. They
Don't
don't
lose
lose
any
any
money.
deposits.
No. What we do is we get more business.
Is there
Right, we-
points or a higher
Nothing,
rate?
nothing, absolutely nothing. Same rate.
So what
All
are
right, guys.
listing agents making
I know what we're
of
doing.
this?
Here's the
Because
best
I
part
feel like
about
if I
it.
got this as a listing agent, I'd be like, oh,
Here-
that
yeah.
doesn't look like
Here,
pre-approval.
here's the best part about it. So copy us on your offers. Don't try to explain it yourself. Cody, myself, Saturdays, we'll jump on the phone and we'll be like, hey, listen, this is what it is. Read the first page of this. If you want your attorney to review it, we're happy to, to go over it with your attorney. But there's no contingency. This goes in your offer.
That's signed by our corporate counsel and then it goes.
You can
it's
pass around
attached-
if you guys want to read it.
Attached to the contract buyers, sellers, like attorneys, everyone signs it, it gets executed. And then they're going into the offer and it's like, there's no mortgage contingency. We've already done the upfront work. We're just gonna order title appraisal. I
Right.
got one on the 3rd, it's closing the 16th. So like, and I will say like the agents that like, you know, I mean, yeah, like copy me on the offers, like I will always call the listing agent, cause like I will
That's
say
my
like,
question.
some of
You're
the
gonna have to explain it to
some of the
them.
listing agents and the attorneys are like, what is this?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That's what I'm-
I get it, you know, and like I'll explain. So I'm happy to do that, but like the referral partners and like agents that I work with who like use this, you and see how well it works, they're the ones who are like, I don't even just do that. I don't even want it if I don't.
There's some agents that are really like killing the market because they're putting this in their
Yeah.
business. And so they're not going 9 months on a buyer, right? They're going 2 months on a buyer.
Yeah.
Or
A
a
month.
month on a buyer, and they're on to the next one. But you have to do a couple, and you have to kind of know how it
Yeah.
works. But I mean, I want to get my pipeline to 75% of these. Right now we're at 25%. So
There needs to be specific language in the contract in regards to this.
no, well,
It's
we
just the
could,
addendum that gets attached to it. In the contract, like or the purchase agreement, whatever you guys submit, it's just like waiving mortgage contingency.
Mhm. But apart.
I like to add one little line on mine just to say, just to protect their EMD again, even though it's protected, the borrowers feel better.
Well, the appraisal part is kind of.
So we'll talk about the appraisal part.
Yeah,
That's what we left.
And
So
if you guys both, because it seems like the appraisal part is probably gonna be like a bigger conversation. I know that Chris and Lori have questions so far.
sure.
Yes,
If we
ask
could-
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to,
Chris, you wanna go first?
Sure. Have there been any sellers, attorneys, comments, feedback, legal pushback on this?
so the addendum is written for an attorney to completely understand it. There's a copy here. We could get an email out to the whole group after this that you guys can read. It's pretty self-explanatory once an attorney reads the 3-page addendum.
I will say I had one that like the seller, you know, the offer got accepted. They're like executing the contract and they were like advising the seller like, hey, don't do the cash guarantee. But like to us, it's kind of like, what does it matter? You already accepted the offer. We're getting the
That was
executed
just an
contract, and
attorney who
we're
didn't
waiving
understand it.
mortgage contingency. Like we won, you know what I mean? If you guys don't want to, like, that's your loss, you know?
Right.
That was just an
Um,
attorney who didn't understand it, and maybe
But the offer was already accepted. so
Offer was
that's
already
fine.
accepted, so.
Contract was executed, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, you know, yeah.
Laura, you have a question?
Hi, yes, good morning.
Morning.
So is this supposed, so this is a pre-approval plus this Fairway cash guarantee on top of a pre-approval that's submitted?
So we're kind of bypassing that whole pre-approval piece. If you're getting this, you're getting a fully underwritten, committed file by us and insured by us.
Okay, and
There's a lot of
then,
lenders, there's like 3 levels everyone's doing now. They're doing pre-approval, they're doing a full underwrite up front. This is like the 3rd level that we're doing, is now we're insuring the work that we've done.
Yeah.
So
and
the
are you
point
gonna
of-
buy the property at the price that's being
That's where we're
offered?
going next. We're gonna talk about we're gonna talk about the parameters really quick of what we can do this on. So we could do this on FHA loans, VA loans, conforming loans, jumbo loans. Max price of a house, it's written in there, $1 million. That's our exposure. We don't want to be buying $3 million houses. Cody and I have got them done up to like 1.4, 1.5. We just submitted for an exception if a borrower's looking in multiple price ranges, right? So just work with us on that. What's written here is $1 million. We've got them done higher. It's simple. It's like 30, it's an email that I send and just say, can you approve it higher? But that FHA client that literally is getting kicked to the curb, right? Because it says FHA on their offer, this is where they should go. A client that we're going to go into the appraisal piece yet, and that's where it gets kind of, that's where most of your questions are. A VA client, people really, they're putting 0% down. A lot of people don't want to work with them. Loans we can't do it on are just bond loans, like chapel loans.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's it, but we do it on jumbo as well, which is big because that jumbo market is definitely a non-contingent market these days. So, appraisal piece. We will buy the house for the purchase price or appraised value, whichever's lower. So if it under appraises, we're going to buy it at that. So we're not guaranteeing the price, but we're guaranteeing the appraisal. So if it's a $700,000 house at a price for 680, our buyer says,
Same as a regular file though,
Right.
you know, yeah.
our buyer says, I'm not interested anymore. We're on the hook. So we're
Does
going
the
to.
seller now have the ability to
Yes.
say no?
Yeah, it's written right here. So the seller has the ability to say no, and we will, this is a weird thing, we will give them $10,000 just to say no and walk away from
Wow.
it. And it's written on the,
And because of the protection, the buyer still gets to keep their full down payment.
yeah,
And the buyer, like, they don't have to front that 10 grand at all.
no, it's our 10 grand. We've done a lot more 10 grands than we have bought houses, to be honest. A lot more people are like, the market's better. I want to relist it. I've had better offers, so
These loans don't really fall apart because the people who go through this are like the serious buyers, right? You're not getting the person who, you're getting the serious people who are committed to buying a house. And like, if you can make your business just with serious committed buyers, I mean, how much better would that be? So you weed out, if you told your client do this and they said no, I mean, I'd be apprehensive about wasting my Saturday.
This is like the 800,000 price, 20% down, like Fairfield, where it's like, oof, or like 900K Wilton. It's like, this is just.
Now, the one
everyone's
time you might put an appraisal contingency in there is like if the buyer just doesn't have the funds and they like, they want to still buy the house, and you could say, hey, it appraise within a certain amount. We could work with that and figure it out. If they have a 20% down payment or 25% down payment, I wouldn't even talk about appraisal.
Honestly, even
We
like
just go
sometimes
in,
less,
knock it
depends how like competitive they're trying to be. Like we have one in Fairfield right now that like they're gonna gut it and do a bunch of work to it and everything, but like purchase price was 700. They were putting down 10%. They waived every contingency because we had done the cash guarantee. But they waived appraisal as well, 10%. They knew it would come in a little less, came in at 685. They're not bringing extra money to close because minimum down is 5 anyway.
Just so this was like a builder special that we competed with cash people, and our clients with cash guarantee with 20% down won the deal.
10%
University area property. I mean, there was like, 3 days of nonstop showings and up against builders paying cash, and they took our client's offer with this. So like, that's pretty cool.
They put down 8.5% or 8.7, whatever it came down.
I thought it was 20%. They took down 8%.
No, it was 10%. And then the appraisal was coming in a little less. So like, we're just shifting the down payment up. So instead of 10%, they're doing like 8.7, whatever. PMI went up $20. So their payment, their loan amount didn't change. They're not bringing cash to close. Payment goes up.
And this
$20.
client was looking for a fixer for a while, and they obviously, that most people with 10% down can't buy those properties, right? Of the competition these days. So this is what got them that property. And it's pretty cool. So that's the only time we can't do this is if they're selling a property to buy another property, because I don't control that transaction. The other one, right? If they need the funds out of it. Yeah, that's the one time we can't do it.
Do you do bridge loans for people like this?
Yes, so we do. We have 2 different bridge loan products. So we have loans that are a HELOC on their house. We have a bridge loan. We have all sorts of different products now. Those are super popular. That's a whole nother presentation that we can go in. One other thing, non-cash guarantee, and Julie and I were talking about this when we met a couple of weeks ago, is let's just put cash guarantee on the side. So Fairway in Connecticut, our jumbo rates are good, right? So a lot of the non-bank lenders you think they don't have good jumbo rates, right? They have to go to a bank to get the best rate. So, and I was telling Julie about this, we went to a couple local Connecticut banks, and so we sell their loans in our name, and like we'll sell it to them after they close, but they're getting those really, really good rates that competitive, that you're like kind of cringe when you see the pre-approval, because you're like, I know that process is going to be tough. So they can get those rates with us, but with our process. So don't think about, because a lot of times you have that stigma of like, oh, they don't have jumbo products, right? Or their jumbo products are half a point higher than the banks. So reach out to us and find out, because we've been doing great with it. So we have 2 local banks that we make deals with that we close in Fairway's name, and then they buy the loan from us after the people are in the house.
We have one in Greenwich, it's 1876, and the loan amount's 1.3. I didn't even do cash guarantee. I just underwrote it up front, and like I think I spoke to him Saturday. I had it underwritten by Tuesday. We got the contract yesterday. No mortgage contingency, no appraisal contingency.
Yeah.
Do you add the inspection contingency to?
It's totally up to you guys.
We won't see the house, so it's hard for me to advise.
Well, I'm never advising that they waive that unless it's a, total fixer upper.
They could do like a structural health and safety.
Right, that's.
But if they do waive it, and are you still on the hook to buy it if they, you know what I mean? Like, let's say something happens with the house.
So that means it's not that they don't want to buy the house, it's that they don't qualify for the mortgage. So it's not like, oh, I had second thoughts, Fairway's buying this house, I'm good. It's like, if you don't qualify for the mortgage anymore.
Okay.
Do you get it?
You can intentionally get fired.
Okay.
So there's a buried oil tank and you found out, oh my God, there's oil.
Like, that's something you got to work out. That's not where it's like, because you still qualify for the mortgage.
So you can't really waive inspections
No.
because.
Well, it's up to you. It's up to you. I mean, if it's a newer house and you walk
But
through
if
it.
you waive inspections and you're guaranteeing you're buying it, no matter what happens with the inspection, you know what I mean? Like, we have to make sure that we don't let them waive inspections when they're getting a guarantee. Because it wouldn't, you can't buy a house without inspection.
And you wouldn't honor that. Like, if
Well,
there's,
so it's when they don't qualify for financing.
well,
So
and they wouldn't qualify with the oil tank in the ground.
that's kind of
right.
like a myth. It never really messes up a mortgage anymore, but yeah, it used to. It
But
used
you
to.
don't want, I'm just saying to protect you guys,
Yeah.
you don't wanna have to buy a house
Yes.
because someone says, all right, I'll do this, let's waive the contingency, mortgage, the inspection contingency to get it, because I just waived my inspection contingency on a house I'm buying in Maine, which I've told every single client never, ever, 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 ever to do. And
You
so I
are.
did it. So of course.
We
I
all
did.
had a Thor in our life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if someone really wants it, and we've had people that really want it and like, okay, I'll waive the mortgage, the inspection. And then they don't qualify. And it's got water damage and structural damage and all of
Yeah,
that.
I mean, if that's the case, like it doesn't qualify anymore, yeah, we probably end up buying it. But if it's just like, oh, there's more work than I thought it would be, like you still qualify for the loan.
Yeah.
If the loan still qualifies. So
Yeah.
we go to do our appraisal and we insured it, and now all of a sudden the appraiser is saying, this won't pass anything, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we gotta take each situation, right?
And
Each
just-
situation as it
Yeah.
is.
And just stressing, don't.
I wouldn't
waive
use
your
this as
inspection.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
use this as an inspection pass type. thing.
Yeah, and
As
that's
an
what I think
inspection
we
safety,
would,
I
but I
wouldn't use
think
it
that
for
it
that.
could, when you really want a house, sometimes people will do anything.
Yeah.
And you don't, just be careful when you're using this to make sure that there's some time to even do an inspection for informational purposes so you can walk away.
Totally. Yeah, I'm good with the appraisal waivers and the mortgage waivers, but the inspection stuff
Yeah.
gets a little dicey, so.
So-
absolutely.
Lori has a question.
Please.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to get my head around this a little. I mean, this is not just for someone who is got a house to sell and that doesn't want a Hubbard. You're saying use this just to be competitive with any buyer and you've got a cash offer?
Yeah, nothing to do with the Hubbard. We actually don't entertain Hubbards on this, so we're not insuring, because I don't control that other transaction, right? So this is somebody who doesn't have anything to sell. So this is your buyer who's trying to buy a house and who's going in with mortgage financing every time, and you're putting 30 days for a mortgage contingency, whatever, 4 weeks to close, whatever it is. You're now not putting a mortgage contingency on there because the mortgage part, it's a seller. Here we go. It's a seller insurance that they're going to sell their house on that date.
But
The
you do
buyer's
have
buying
an
it.
appraisal contingency. You do have an appraisal contingency for the cash
Those are
buy.
case by case, really depending on their down payment and where they want to be. So those are things we talk about, but those are case by case. We're not insured.
That's
We're not.
just like any cash
Yeah.
buyer though. So you're turning your mortgage buyer into a cash buyer,
Mhm.
and any cash buyer is gonna be
You're waiting.
thinking about appraisals or not putting in an
Yep.
appraisal.
Yeah,
We will still buy the house if it appraises under, but we're buying it at the appraised value.
yeah.
That's the risk for the seller. If they're getting offers way over and they know that they're probably gonna have an appraisal gap.
Yeah,
You could write something in there if you want, like, we'll buy the house with a 5% of price, like, you could do whatever you want to do, right, with that.
But you're not gonna cover anything above the appraisal.
and how do you get these people to the point where you're confident, you're just so confident that they're gonna be approved, that you're willing to waive the.
Underwrite, that's where coding comes in.
We underwrite it up front. Yeah. So I'll get you the pre-approval like the same day, and then I'll send it to my underwriter as soon as like they give me the green light, and like within a day or two, the underwriter gets back to me. As soon as she approves it, right, we'll send out the commitment, we'll send it to corporate counsel, they'll sign the legal addendum that's
Basically, we treat your file as if you had a property address and you had a closing date.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're gonna go through underwriting and get it clear to close on any normal file. So we just do that without a property.
Yeah, and then if they like you said, lose their job day before closing, you're
That's
just,
where this comes in. That's where this comes in. Absolutely. They mess up their credit, they buy a new car.
Yeah, which is pretty rare.
Yeah.
It's rare, yeah, and that's why our risk is low, right? That's why our risk is low, but we have enough size and cash to insure it that like, it's not a problem if we had to step in and, buy a house for a couple weeks.
I also wanted to say, as far as, I've done a couple deals with you. I don't know. I'm excited to do more deals with you.
Thank
know
you.
that. And part of the reason I like working with them is because how do I say this? The property's appraised. I mean, that's all, my experience has been that I don't have to really worry about that, assuming it's not crazy. Every time I've worked with them, the property's appraised.
We self-manage our appraiser list, so we base our appraisal, or the work that gets done on speed for them to set the appointments, the least revisions possible on an appraisal report. You can't obviously do it on value. But we try to give the good people who are giving us good service more business in the most legal way possible.
Yeah.
And so it's not like we're shipping it out to a third-party company called AMC, which is an appraisal management company. We are the appraisal management company.
Which
So
I love.
in-house, we self-manage the appraisers. I mean, I've been doing this for 20-something years, and it's, the same people doing the appraisers, but there's a rotating thing. So you're legal, right? There's a rule called HVCC that we follow, but I don't have people coming from, Hartford County to do a Fairfield appraisal. Like, we really have a whole team that self-manages
Which
the
is
appraisers.
such a big, for me, that's such a big advantage
Mhm.
to use you guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris,
but-
I can answer your question there, on off contract, non-cash, but not mortgage. No, so I'll give you an example. So like, this isn't like the MLS contract. It's like the Fairfield County Bar Association, like that one that like the attorneys draw up. But this one that was 1876, so it's like consideration, the purchase price is blah, blah, blah. And then it says, as the balance of the deposit, blah, 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 was it 10%, 187,600. And then number C, upon the delivery of the deed or by wire transfer by certified check, the proceeds of which are immediately available, it just has the price. So if there's no mortgage contingency, there's no mortgage on it. To the sellers, like, they're just gonna get that money that day.
I would write C addendum. I would probably just do something like that on there.
So on the
because
existing car contract that we're supposed to be using now, you have choice A or choice B. We don't have another choice.
it's not a mortgage. So I mean, I'd probably check cash and say C addendum. Again, I'm not an attorney, but that's just my,
That was
opinion.
gonna be my next question, because you just put it in as a cash offer.
Yeah,
And that's,
what I
that's
thought, yeah.
like, we're complicating it.
yeah.
It's a cash, it's turning a mortgage offer into a cash offer.
That's exactly what it is.
And this is just explaining that it's not a POF, it's a guarantee from you guys.
Yeah, totally. What buyers are best for this? That's a great question. So you're serious buyers, you're people who are like really determined to buy a house, not the tire kickers. The tire kickers will start, we'll ask them for a piece of paper, they're gonna get us back to us in 7 days. We need another piece of paper, it's gonna take another week, and you're gonna be like, this program stinks, you never got me a cash guarantee. It's the serious people who, if we give them one list of documents, they get it to us that day or the next day. We put it through, you're on the street with the cash guarantee that weekend, shopping for homes. So, and you don't want those buyers anyway, the ones, like I said before, that can't get their paperwork right. Like, are they really gonna pull the trigger or step up on a property? You want the people who are ready to go. And our success with this is like, first, second, third offer, after they get this, they win. I mean, that's the success Cody and I have had.
The only buyers that shouldn't be considered is, number one, a multifamily. We can't control the rents. Number two, really, like, if you're selling to buy, and like you need a Hubbard, because I can't control like how much that home's gonna sell for. You can be like keeping a property and buying another one, like as long as your income can hold both mortgages and you have the assets.
As long as our approval is not contingent on
Right,
that.
right.
So, yeah, we could do this on investors. We could do it on second homes. The only thing is they're single family or condos. Those are the properties, single family or condos. But you could do it on, if you have an investor who likes to buy a bunch of condos, I mean, this is the thing for them, or a bunch of single families, or someone buying a second home. So that's it. We try to not complicate it. We try to get it through as fast as possible. Like, that's our goal with these. When our team sees them come in, they don't get a backseat to a live loan. They're treated like a live loan because we know you guys are waiting for this, right? To get them through, and that's it. But
And if there's ever one that's like, hey, it's a Monday and you're like, oh, we're seeing this house Friday and highest and best is like Saturday 5, like, I'd say, let me know, and like, I can like put it on, my team's radar as well, and be like, hey, priority.
And we won't get too deep into this part of it now, as you guys are talking, but as we know, with the changes, we have to prove our value to buyers more and more and more than ever. So when you're first sitting down with your buyer consultation, which we never normally did because we're just meeting them at the house and running up offers, this is where you explain and you have a conversation of what the value of using the Vanderbilt team is. This is one of many things that we're going to be disclosing the value that we bring, such as I'm not gonna get into it, but
We can make your offer look like a cash offer without risk to you.
Yeah.
something like that.
our lender partner has this exclusive tool for us. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like, have you lost any homes, whether they have or not?
Right.
We'll have a whole narrative
Yeah.
around explaining this to make it simple and not complicated, but to point out the benefits of our team by our
you know, you're not working exclusively with us, but we're not claiming that, but we're saying our partnership
Yeah,
allows. this.
partners
So,
work.
so, so it will be in our buyer's presentation. And then if they're buying so as you know, we can't just prefer just one,
Sure.
and you don't just work with one realtor, so this is gonna be a great way to differentiate us, and then we'll have the options of the partners that we use that are, you know, your jumbo rates are probably better than Total.
Yeah, they definitely are.
But Total might be able to do, if we stick, you know, if Total is staying with us, Nick and Jen have been good to us. And then there's, you know, so there's differentiation on each one.
Yeah, there's different niches and there's different clients for different lenders, like we totally understand that.
And so I'm almost picturing when we're sitting down with a buyer for the first time, it's kind of like a navigated map as far as who's the best person for this and who's the best attorney for the, you know what I mean? So they really know we're listening and putting them in the right hands instead of saying, we'll use this guy.
Yep.
We're gonna explain. So as the market has changed and we have to get more proficient in explaining our value as a buyer's agent, no matter who pays us, our partners and how to explain them is gonna be important. So don't worry if you're not completely versed in how to explain this, because we're gonna have a whole educational program on how to explain buyer representation, which Fairway will be part of.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you ever go into a buyer thing and you want us to like just jump on like a speaker call, just set up a text record. Like, hey, I'm going into a buyer consult. I'm going to call you in 20 minutes.
And what I'd
And
really
we'll
like
answer
to
the phone.
do, Val, is maybe even in the back room, like have like a conversation, not necessarily a podcast, but a conversation like we're having here. Because it's interesting and asking questions and
Yeah.
doing like a video podcast type of thing.
Yeah.
Because this is so timely and with buyer's representation. So we'll talk about that, but I wasn't.
Talk about it. Yeah.
I wasn't even gonna say it, but I think just plant the seed that.
And
we
our
should-
office is at 55 Walls, the Cinto building over here. Beautiful office. We got a whole nice like conference room to film in and all that
That's
stuff.
perfect. We'll come to you.
Yeah, come to us.
That's
We'd
awesome.
love to show
All
you
right.
our office.
We've
Love
got a
it.
bunch of questions in the chat.
All right,
so
let's-
from-
What do we got?
From Lori, when you say you are a non-bank lender, do you carry the paper or sell it?
Yeah, so we service only about 20% of the loans we do. We sell about 80% of them. But that's what gives us the best execution because we could sell it to, most of our stuff goes directly to Fannie or Freddie and like bulk sales at the end of the month. I mean, so our company does last year $40 billion in loans. So we don't want to hold $40 billion in loans. And so we have to sell. Yeah.
Awesome. From Ellen, generally speaking, is the cash guarantee program for properties under 1 million?
Million is the number that's in print. We do go over on a case by case basis, but I mean, a million, that's the program's written for a million, just because we don't want to buy $2 million homes, you know, so we try to limit our exposure. But Cody and I have actually had customers that are like, I'm at 900 and I'm at 1.2. That's my price range. I don't want to not let them use the program, so we'll be able to do it.
And 1.2 is like the new 900.
1.2, right? 1.2 is like entry level, right? So it's crazy.
From Carmen, do you use
Go ahead, Cody.
DSCR loans?
Yes, definitely.
One thing we do different, which most
Really
people
easy,
don't, DSCR loans are typically your broker transaction where their lender will take it and let another company make the decision. So we in-house those decisions and our underwriters underwrite the DSCR loans. So we do them quick and we do them fast. Those are the fastest loans possible because there's really no income. It's does the property rent support the payment?
Right.
And they're easy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, those are
very
easy loans.
familiar.
And they're
Very easy.
becoming more and more
Really
popular.
straightforward. They're not like that, like not that many, I don't know, factors anymore, variables anymore.
And the rates are actually pretty good on them.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd be bad, but they're
They're
pretty
really
good.
not as terrible as you think.
From Lori, so buyers have to qualify with consideration of a home they might own now?
Yeah,
or
I'm gonna,
no?
you know, be conservative with the taxes, right? Like, I don't want to tell you like, oh yeah, you're good for an $800,000 home and I'm estimating taxes at
No,
$5
they're
grand a
asking,
year.
they're asking carrying 2 properties.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
they
wait,
said
this
that
probably
doesn't
consider-
qualify for.
Yeah, they have to qualify because if they're not selling that home prior to buying the new home, like any mortgage, cash guarantee or not, you're gonna have to qualify with 2 unless you take a bridge loan, which we'd love to do another presentation on that, but that's a whole another 20, 30 minutes of the tools we have for that. Average closing time,
2
Cody,
weeks.
2 weeks.
Quick as the attorney can schedule. Sometimes the attorneys
Well,
get
we need
mad
an
at me.
appraisal.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the attorney's not gonna, you know, probably won't schedule 5 days from now. We'll just order it, we'll order title appraisal, they'll get their insurance and we'll close.
Our appraisal turn times are 7 days back from order,
Yeah.
is what our service level agreements are with our appraisers.
So I have a question. which you probably already answered, but if someone, it doesn't really matter, but if someone has a POF that they can give, but they want to use you,
Mhm.
they would just give their POF, use you, but they don't want to use their cash. Like, is it better to show, because not most, but many people have the cash that they can prove they have.
I think this is a POF, right? It's kind of like substituting the POF, right? I don't know if I complicate things, being like the borrower's got $1 million, but Fairway's insuring for $1 million, like who's paying the money, right?
It's just like right now, and I'm kind of going into this because we've explained to the team, a cash offer is different than a mortgage offer. But a lot of people say they think that because someone's waiving their mortgage, it's a cash offer. Like I hear a lot of realtors say, oh, I've got a cash offer, but you really don't.
Yeah.
You have a
I
mortgage.
still need to get in for an appraisal, so let me in.
But a POF is pretty strong. So if someone has an IRA or something to show their bank, I mean, a POF is kind of ridiculous when you think about it. It's a piece of paper, practically a napkin with my bank account that shows that I have $3 million or whatever. I don't have access to it really unless I sell my soul.
Right.
But that POF is a pretty solid piece of paper. And then I'm just saying, is it a stronger offer if we have a POF that they're not really gonna use and they're gonna rely on
If you
this?
look
What
at
are
a
they
set,
saying on paper? Are they saying that if they don't get the house, that they're gonna have to pay for
or
it?
they're
are
just
they saying-
showing their.
Right. I think
Or
it's just
never.
stronger to show.
I think it's
because
starting to show it because as a
more
seller,
familiar.
as
It's
a,
more
as a
familiar.
seller, I mean, as mortgage and real estate people, we understand all this stuff, right? But you're a seller and you're like, okay,
Exactly.
they got this and they got $1 million. Like
Yeah.
you just,
Add-
human
add-
nature
So showing
think
that we
that.
have the POF and showing this.
But you have to do a POF with an appraisal, it sounds like, right?
there's an appraisal on all of these, yeah.
Yeah,
So you say
but
this
a
is,
real
you just have to.
POF, you don't do an appraisal.
You don't have
You
to,
get a
some
waiver.
do,
Typically,
but,
you don't.
yeah.
So that's why the true POF is a stronger offer because typically you're not appraised.
Right.
And then if you do appraise, you have to explain why you're appraising. Like, why are you appraising?
But,
But-
and let me just not
Yeah.
complicate it, but because these buyers will do anything to get a house.
Yeah.
If they have a POF, they want to use you. You're guaranteeing that if they don't get it, they don't want to tap into but they say, with you, we'll do an appraisal gap, we'll pay the difference. So the buyers just have to pay the difference, which they'd have to pay anyway if they were using their POF. Right?
But there wouldn't be a difference if they were using POF. They would just pay whatever they offer.
That's what they would have to do still, but they're
Right.
only gonna pay up to the appraisal, and this guy's gonna have to pay a higher percentage down to cover the gap.
Right. But all I'm saying is if you're going in with a proof of funds, why are you appraising? You have to explain.
Because they require it.
Yes, they do, but what Julie's saying is she wants to hide the fact that they're using financing, basically.
I don't really wanna hide it, I just
No,
wanna,
it's a stronger
I
offer.
just wanna, I wanna give them the strongest offer, which, like, I'm doing this right now in my house that I'm buying in Maine. I put cash offer. My mortgage broker, I said it's a cash offer, I showed my POF, my mortgage broker called the agent, I don't really know why.
Oh,
But my mortgage broker called the agent, and the agent's like, why is a mortgage broker calling me? This is a cash offer. And I said, well, the cash will either be coming from the bank if it's approved. And if not, I'm bringing cash to the table. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, would you be pissed at
Either way, they're getting
now,
cash.
attorneys are fine with that, but it's like agents don't always understand.
Yeah.
Either way, you're gonna close. with
So-
It's
cash.
becoming a lot more common though, right? Because like,
Yeah.
I'm getting contracts that say cash, but the whole time they're using a
Most
mortgage,
of the
so
time,
Yeah.
it's all about how you guys present it, right?
But
It's
it's
all
just
how
that
you
I'm
present it.
guaranteeing that I'm gonna buy it. It's
Totally.
just I'd rather mortgage it. Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
You know? Well, I don't
That's
know.
becoming a lot more common because you need to waive your
That's how we get
contingencies.
accepted
Yeah, that's how you get accepted offer. So you just say, listen, that's a really good way to say it, right? The cash is gonna be there. It's either mine or the bank's, right? But I wanna do an appraisal. Like,
Yeah.
you're basically cash guaranteeing your own property.
Exactly.
That's what
so
you're
what
doing.
if
So
what if
I'm-
the listing agent is like, well, wait a second, it's a cash offer. Like, they're gonna wanna take the offer that doesn't require an appraisal. Especially a lot of agents don't understand, like, that
Yeah.
it's not a threat to
So-
the deal.
And we always say, you're not cash with this, but you're as close to cash as you could get, right? Because you still need to do the appraisal.
But how do you talk to the listing agent? Like, yes, we're gonna do an appraisal, but
I mean, if your price is
For
higher, if you put a
informational
gap, if you put a
purposes,
gap in or something like that, you know.
Because you're not including the
Most-
appraisal as
most cash buyers
contingency,
don't.
you're still, you're not,
True.
if you were specifically adding the appraisal as contingency, then there would be a
But
point of
it
contention
is,
there,
I mean,
but-
it's. if
But
we're
you're
doing
waiving
this,
it.
But if you
Aren't
wait,
you-
but
Well, then the buyer would have to make up the difference if you.
Can't waive the.
you can
appraisal.
waive it.
Not with their
You
thing.
can waive it as long as you're okay to cover the
cover
difference.
Yeah,
difference,
as long as
yeah.
your buyer
Right.
is willing to pay the
Okay,
difference.
so it's not a
That's the answer.
requirement
That's the
that
answer.
you, it's not a requirement.
Which they would be
Which
doing
they would
if
have
it's
to do
cash
anyway,
anyway.
exactly.
Yeah.
They would have to do
Okay.
anyway.
I see, got it,
Yeah.
okay.
But not all
So
buyers.
basically, if we
not
were
all
doing a-
buyers are comfortable
If we
with
were doing a
waiving
mortgage and it under appraised and our buyer still wanted to buy it, the buyer would just pay the difference.
$1,000.
But I think it's.
But you're
gonna-
not
I
doing an
think it's-
appraisal necessarily.
No, if you have a cash offer, no, you're not doing an appraisal without Fairway, no mortgage, nothing. You're not doing an appraisal. That's what we're saying, right?
Right.
But with this, you are. So, you know, you're not gonna, if you have a cash offer and you have a Fairway cash guarantee, they're gonna take the cash offer, right? Because there's no appraisal. So you
Right.
might, maybe if you're, pay up a little
I
bit.
think that you
Unless
have to write in that you're
you're
doing an
us.
appraisal for informational purposes only.
Yeah, you can.
If your client, but you still, but you have to explain why you're doing it. You just say it's for information.
Okay, just, that's gonna be a little
Yeah,
red
so they're
flag.
just.
You could say that they're gonna mortgage it after, maybe they're thinking about mortgaging it after they purchase it.
If you're waiving
it
anyway, why do you have to put it in there?
But they're
Because they
gonna,
have to do it.
so they're
They
gonna
have to enter
Someone's
the
gotta get
house.
in the
Somebody's
house.
gotta get in the
It doesn't
house.
have to be in the contract.
I mean, it does.
Well, it does,
It does
because
if
they're
you're
gonna
gonna
do
do
an
it.
appraisal if you're using this
So
program.
I think the appraisal is not gonna be an issue, right? Because they're gonna know from the offer that you're actually using this program. So the appraisal, when it comes time to do it, it's not gonna be a shock to them.
But you don't, so if you
Yeah,
have
you
the
can't
proof of
go in.
funds, you don't have to disclose that you're using this
So
program.
we just say that it's for info only. I
But
mean,
that's only for this
Yeah.
very specific instance where they also have the proof of funds
Correct.
to be able to do this. In-
Right. They
in
won't always
reasonable-
have the.
Right, in regular circumstances, for buyers who are using this program,
Right.
they're gonna know from the jump, so there's not gonna be a question about the appraisal.
Well, I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Is, because there are plenty of people that have the money that don't want to pay the money, so they could put a POF. They could show a POF even though I have no intention of ever using it. I'm never gonna go into that bank account and take $2 million.
That's what we're
out.
saying. The seller might feel better just knowing that this person has the money.
Exactly, so that's my point, like, I think as we're learning buyer's representation in a better way, one of the questions is, you know, a proof of funds, and again, this will get into a long conversation, but really, I want to dig so deep in the next couple of weeks on the best way to represent buyers and protect them and have them going like this instead of like, you know, so explaining the process and a POF, Mr. Buyer, is important to have if you have the money, even if you're not going to use it. Because if you're using Fairway, they're going to guarantee your cash anyway.
Right.
Proof of funds is going to elevate you. So get a POF ready if it's an IRA or something to show you have the money in the bank and you're not going to use it. It'll be a backup plan when we present a Fairway cash guarantee offer. They'll know you have the money, but you're not going to touch it. And it will be subject to an appraisal, which could bump you down below a real cash offer. But let's discuss that when we get there because we're not there yet.
And that's where we'll collaborate with you guys and we'll say, you're gonna say, hey, listen, this thing bid up like crazy, the house across the street. I'm a little worried about the appraisal, which doesn't happen a lot. I mean, our values, Cody, I would say like 2%, right? Might not come in, 1% of value of the appraised value. Like,
Ooh, it's very low. Yeah.
very, very, low in this market right now.
Yeah.
But if you have something that just went crazy and it was just all emotional, right? And you're like, there's nothing to back it up with, we'll have the conversation.
I
with
haven't
the
had
client.
a single family.
And we'll be like, listen, you're a contract for 800, the neighbor's house sold for 750. Let's look at those numbers, figure it out, make sure you're comfortable. That's where we step in and talk to them, right? about
And you
that.
just ask them there, just like they would if there was a cash offer, are you comfortable with the gap? Are you
Yeah.
comfortable coming up a little bit more? Because even if you had all the cash in the world, you'd be under the same, whether you're getting it from Fairway or you're taking it out of your bank account.
Yeah.
The appraisal issue, are you comfortable technically overpaying for certain properties right now?
Yeah, totally.
And I think that's a conversation that you can have with your client as well, and it would actually help us if you're qualifying someone for this program and you know, you already looked at their docs and you know they've got $2 million in their IRA or something
Yeah.
like that. You could say, you know, you could also, it may strengthen your
And-
offer. If you
And
do-
some of the times we just changed the mortgage around. They don't actually have to bring cash. So if it was a 20% down loan, I could change it to a 10% down loan. PMI is super cheap. It's like, hey, it's gonna add $95 to your payment a month. You don't have to even go in your bank. Those are the conversations we have, and that's
It's
education to the
under
client.
appraisal, right?
Makes your job a lot easier. Right? So we try to educate the clients. Our process, just so you know, really quick, I don't want to take up your whole day here, but our process is very thorough with the clients. We're not just sending them a letter, pre-approval, cash guarantee, and going on with our day. To get this, we want them to get on the phone with us or Zoom and ask questions. I don't want you guys doing mortgage payments. That's our job. I don't want you answering mortgage questions. That's our job. And so we take that really seriously about educating the clients before we get them back to you. Because an educated client's going to pull the trigger faster. It's going to pay up for a property because they're not worried about unanswered questions. And so we try to fine tune our process, but education is their biggest thing, and accessibility. So
We have one question on the chat from Ellen, which I feel like we covered. Would you have to write the appraisal contingency into the offer with this program? And the answer
I think
is
we just talked about that.
right.
No. No, situational.
Yeah.
It's situational is the
It
answer.
depends, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Just like a regular offer, like.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Got it. We
Julie,
appreciate
no.
your time. I don't want to, is there more questions?
Yeah, just a comment, to Julie's point, her mortgage broker contacted the listing agent and the listing agent was like, what the hell's going on? Isn't it better to just be upfront and explain the situation from the get-go as opposed to surprises? Because no one likes surprises.
I would always explain what this program is and that they're insured and they're getting a mortgage, but if they don't get the mortgage, I'm buying the house. That's what this program is. It's not like a smoke and mirrors type thing. It's straight up, we're buying the house on, April, whatever, if the seller doesn't. So start packing, don't worry about it, move on with your life. That's simple, super simple.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anybody else for questions about the program? Oh, I actually have a question.
Yes.
So we have some agents who work in New York, some agents who work in Florida.
Yeah. Nationwide license in all those states.
Nationwide.
Okay, and this program is applicable.
Program there,
Okay.
and Cody and I are licensed in all those states, as
Awesome.
mentioned. We have 11 state licenses, so we cover pretty much South Carolina, New York, Jersey, Maine. Yep, Maine.
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, I don't have.
Okay.
We have Maine. Yes, Maine. We do a lot in Maine.
Can I give you my information?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't locked in with John Glazier.
I don't know who that is.
He's some company up there that might, we'll talk about it after.
Yeah,
but-
call me.
But immediately, because we're getting quoted like a 6, putting, it's only 306,000, I'm putting 100.
Just call us later. We'll give
All
you,
right.
we'll give you,
Okay.
we'll give
So
you.
New York's good, Connecticut's good.
Florida's good.
Florida's good, and New Hampshire.
New Hampshire's no, so
Okay.
it's Jersey, it's Rhode Island, it's Massachusetts, it's South Carolina, it's Florida, Pennsylvania, Texas.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different states.
Oh,
we
yeah,
do. And this is,
Vermont.
yes, Vermont. I actually do a lot in Vermont. Yep.
Great, awesome.
Yep.
If you guys have any other questions, Val, Laurel, I have my number.
Well, it's all numbers are all over
Yeah,
here.
cards
They're all
are
over
here.
here. One thing about us is speed to respond. We're gonna get back to you. We're super fast. We take our business so seriously. Cody and I are constantly just, working around the clock. So you can trust us with that.
Lori, did you have one last question? I think I saw your hand go up for a second.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say regarding the appraisal thing is that basically you're looking at all the comps, and if you're confident, and you have the comps there, then.
Yep.
Probably-
Absolutely.
Right.
I love when you have the comps because if for some reason, very small percentage, it doesn't come, like we'll go back to our appraiser and give them the comps. We'll have an actual conversation. Their rebuttal process is the easiest thing in the entire world.
We
It's like,
tend to give them the comps too. when we-
I love that you give them the comps. Yeah,
We always
absolutely.
do. Yep.
Give them all of our appraisers are fine with that. They're not like gonna take offense to it.
Right.
They expect it. We tell our agents to do it. We call the listing agent normally on a deal. So if you want to be there, you let us know up front, because normally we go path of least resistance and go straight to the listing agent because they're the ones more connected to the seller. So if you're like, I want to be there, or, I'm going to measure something for my client, I need to get back in the house. So let us know that up front. If not, we're
I
going
usually
to.
call the listing agent, then I'll just text you, hey, appraisals this date.
Yeah, but
this
if you
time.
want to be the one, let us know up front.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't even know it's done. And it's.
You guys ever do just drive-bys? You always go in?
We do a lot of appraisal waivers. So it's not even a drive-by, it's just a waiver, but that's like through this algorithm, through a computer system that I can't tell if you're getting one or not until you're in contract. Yeah.
Like they tell us, yeah.
But we do waivers. If there's a waiver, we're doing waivers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for your time, guys. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you later. We've
Yeah,
got a lot of fun
absolutely.
things to do together.
Cool.
I'm gonna
Thank
text-
you,
I'm gonna
guys.
text
Thank you.
doing the
Appreciate it.
house.
Thank you.
And we have your cards too.
Yeah.
We're over there.
Awesome. Look forward to doing more stuff with you guys.
All right,
Thank you,
thank you
guys.
guys. Julie,
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thanks
Thank
for having
you.
us.
Good to see you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right.
Have a good weekend. And I don't think anyone took the one to the muffins. Thank you.
Well, believe me, that will be eaten all day long.
I'm good.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you, guys.
Thank
you, guys. Just one last thing before everybody jumps off, we have the credit card authorization forms for everyone. We'll have them at Monday's meeting as well. If you don't have, you can fill this out already, if you just can, because we need it for our records. If you didn't already do it on Doppel, yes, yeah.
Can I say that with Mariano and Chris's help, we are a real company now? And these are real rules that have been, like, we have to, we're a big company. We're a big company and there's a lot of moving parts. So please, when they ask for something, listen to them because I know things have been kind of, it is what it is in the past, but we're like trying to make their lives easier.
We don't want to chase.
Yeah. And we're not gonna you're never gonna get charged anything without your knowledge. It's for tools, it's for, oh wow, we wanna do a mailer, we have everything that we need. It just is gonna make everybody's life easier. This is the circle of trust, guys. We trust you, you trust us. We're not gonna take your money. And some of the costs of running a business, like think about the amount for the tools that we're buying. Vanderblue is subsidizing significantly, of course. But the cost of the tools that you're buying are significantly lower than if you tried to do this yourself. And if you're making, I just know that there's pushback a little bit, and I just want to make sure everyone knows that we want to give as much as humanly possible, but we also have to run a business, and we also have to look for other opportunities to spend the money that we make and to grow in different ways. And with different things happening, the money's going into different places. So I just want to stress that because I think that there was some pushback on this, the credit cards.
Just getting, we just need updated.
Like if you were a company, you just need it, like we need it. So if there's a problem, please reach out to one of us. And if there is a problem and people are chatting about it, please let us know. But I don't want the circle of trust and the collaborative synergy within this team. I never want to falter. And if you get people asking each other, like, just come to us, you know, it's us. You can come to me, you can come to Mariano, like, wait, I don't know about this. But if there's like one thing we've never had, at least we've never had people last on the team that were kind of the pot stirrers and the, well, what's this, what's that? Just come to us or talk to each other. I'm not saying don't talk to each other, but if it's like bitching and moaning, which I don't think happens, but it could, just know we are here to help you. We are here 100% to help you. And it will hurt my feelings if I feel that you would not come to me with concerns. Because I hope you can trust me enough to come to me if you think something's unfair or you think you don't want to do something. Don't be afraid to just say, Julie, this is why I don't want to do it. Or this is why I do want to do it. Or thank you, Julie, for giving me this opportunity. Or whatever it is. I'm here, I'm one of you, we're all in this together. We're one team. So I know you're the ones that sometimes are the fall guys with having to ask for things, but I'm here. All right. I love everybody.
Can I say it's Yankee Doodle Fair time in Westport?
Oh,
Yay.
I have no idea what that means.
Father's Day weekend. And we've had a table there in the past. I don't know if anybody is interested in having a table there this year. And I don't even know how much it costs because I'm not involved with it anymore, but I am selling raffle tickets if anybody wants to buy one.
Val, didn't we do that one year?
So anyway.
Yankee Doodle in Westport. You want to? Is it fun?
It is fun.
Should we do one?
We did it. It was super fun.
Town definitely goes.
It's a million little kids,
It's a
so
million
it's a little
kids,
hard to talk to
But it's
people, but
also, it's open container now. It used to not.
There's
Now you
Everyone's
drink
drinking.
Oh, okay,
So
okay,
when
okay.
when they first, when Christina first allowed alcohol there, it was a tent. You had to drink in the tent, but now you can drink everywhere. Which is much better.
We drank at our table.
No, but you can walk around the fair with.
Let's get
with
the
a drink.
information about it. I think it would be fun to do in Westport. And we
I would like to do it if we do it.
It's a good event.
Awesome.
Colleen, did you see what I'm wearing?
I did.
Thank you. It's so soft.
It looks good.
It's cozy.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm gonna wear Gloria's next week. All right, I love everybody. Are we
Thank
good?
you.
Who's winning?
I think we're all good, guys. Thank you. Thank you. for
Bye.
coming. Bye. Have a good day, everyone.